Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game, and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name's Kenny.
My name is Nolan.
And this is episode 297. There are two things going on. One, Nolan, you're in pajamas and a robe.
Yeah.
And
what's the other thing?
He showed up. He showed up ready for work.
No.
Video podcast.
I get dressed for work when we do the podcast. Yes.
Usually.
Yes. Because this is my job, and I respect the developers because they put in time to make their game. I'm just matching the energy of the developers for this game.
But not... Oh.
Yeah, so they didn't try. We should always show up, and when people look at the video episode and what we look like, that can be how they already know our feelings about the game.
Yeah. And also, this is comfy. New robe.
It is.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, to be honest, I even asked you before if it was a robe or like a sweater because it's close. Like you could pull that off as a fashion. I think the shirt's
like
a little
kimono
too ratty
style.
But I mean, it looks good. It is different than normal.
Yes.
But the game is also.
Yes. What's the other thing?
The other thing, a very brief drama-filled trailer dropped a few days ago announcing the remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Are you kidding?
No.
Yep.
We have wanted this. Retro gaming fans have begged for this. It is a classic. It is a favorite. Now, it is extremely early in development.
Still BioWare?
No.
And
I'm out.
And also no longer on the Xbox. It's going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
That's fine.
I'm
out.
Listen. Hold on, Nolan. Just chill. Okay. It is a small company out of Austin, Texas called Aspire.
I'm in.
And it is made up, not entirely of, but at least some ex-BioWare employees are now a part of this company.
Okay. It's a good sign.
Okay.
Depending which employees it was.
Yeah.
You've got a list.
If they brought Janice over, no, it's out.
No way. There is currently no gameplay footage in the trailer. It's only a drama, and a voiceover, some music. There's no release date yet, so we're early in development. As Kenny said, it is PlayStation exclusive, but the way they're phrasing it, they're saying like console specific. It's going to be on PC as well. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be PC and PS5 at first.
That would make sense.
But then also it is Microsoft. I mean, right? So wasn't BioWare in I don't remember. It was Xbox exclusive when it came out originally, so I would assume that there's some kind of connection there. I don't know. It's going to be on everything eventually. I just think at first it will be on PS5 and PC.
Have they opened it up for pre-purchase yet? Because I feel like that's about in the time of game development when people start selling their games. Is that concept and announcement?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so. I don't think you can pre-purchase yet, which is actually a good thing because I think that we're still in the phase where it might never happen or it might happen in a year.
Okay, so is this a Kickstarter? Are you pulling my leg?
It's not a Kickstarter.
All right.
Aspire says that they are rebuilding the game from the ground up, all while remaining true to the revered story and to the characters. So I don't think they're going all the way Final Fantasy VII remake, but it's not just it's not just
reskin.
Updating the graphics. They are rebuilding the thing. So they're going to.
That's a weird in-between spot. I almost wish you just fully reimagine, or you just update graphics but still let the exact same actual game run underneath. That in-between is really hard to pull off where it feels the same but it doesn't. It'll be interesting to see how it does.
Maybe
it will be great. It is a wonderful game and a wonderful story, and if we've got some of the OG BioWare people working on it, then I've got hopes.
And LucasArts said, "Okay, you can do this."
Yeah. Partnership. They're like LucasArts.
Because that's Disney now.
Ooh, yeah.
Yikes! I just want to make sure they weren't just like, we're gonna do this without permission, because that's not gonna happen.
Listen, Final Fantasy VII
haven't gotten to the lawyer phase. They've announced it publicly, but
we're still in a lawsuit, guys.
Final Fantasy VII Remake blew me and most fans out of the water.
True.
I know it's not the same company. I know it's not. They're not. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're a company big enough to do as drastic of a remake as Final Fantasy VII was. That was a totally different game from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful. I want to be hopeful. That would be amazing. We've been waiting for something like this. Anyways, you should check out the trailer. It is epic. No, Kenny, it looked like you had known about the remake before I announced it just now.
Yeah.
Nolan, this was new for you?
This was new for me.
Yeah. Well, you learn something new every day. Like in our retro game of the week, Mario is missing.
Overview.
Mario is missing.
Don't.
Why? Will y'all
Don't
just
do
let
that.
me be?
Don't do that.
No.
Yes. But he's Italian. He's a plumber. All right. Mario and Luigi is
Okay.
Listen, Mario's missing. That's fine. Is a 1993 edutainment, maybe, game. One of those or both of those are incorrect. We'll talk about
Neither
it.
of those are correct.
It is a game. I mean, that's not even. It is a thing that is surprisingly not published by Nintendo. Man, all of this sentence is wrong.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
surprisingly and unsurprisingly. Surprisingly, in the sense that if you think about it today, Nintendo does not license out their game or any of their content.
This is why.
Yeah.
They learn their well, it's not just that they learn their lesson. There's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. I feel like they just picked all the wrong ways, and then they decided, you know what? From now on, we'll never let anyone talk about our content because, or we'll sue them.
It's
Never
annoying.
again.
It's just safer though. I mean, then you don't get Mario.
Side with Nintendo.
I am for this week. I am for this week.
Yeah, this week swayed you to
Yeah.
understanding their opinion.
Yep.
Well, Mario's Missing was published by the Software Toolworks company.
Yeah, famous.
It
famous
is
Toolworks
the,
company.
the Software Toolworks. So, anyways, the is in the title. However, the Software Toolworks was also responsible for Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing.
Love that
which is
game.
how
That
you
is
learned
a
how to
good
type.
game. I did.
You learned how to type.
Yeah, of course.
I
not
learned how to
Kenny,
type with Mario.
which is crazy.
No, you did.
And I didn't learn from either of those. I don't
What'd
know
you
what I
learn to
learned.
type with? Some like off-brand, little Fisher
Maybe
Price.
it was why can't I say it? Mavis Beacon. It wasn't Mario is
It
typing.
wasn't Mario
No,
Teaches
of
Typing.
course not.
Okay, you brought up Mario Teaches Typing. That's another edutainment game
Yeah, and that we've played.
that we played on
It's
the podcast,
Mario themed.
but that we did not give our vote for New Game Plus status.
I don't remember, but probably
Well,
not.
do you remember
I'm
the typing?
assuming we didn't.
One of the typing things, it's not words. It was like FJ over and over again. It's
Well,
just type FJ, FJ, FJ,
Yeah,
FJ.
but that's like your home position. So they were trying
Yeah,
to teach
yeah.
you FJ.
What other edutainment games? I know that we played a few others. I can't remember any of them.
I can't either. In fact, wait, what's that puzzle game Kenny loves so much? That's not edutainment. That's just a puzzle game.
Chips Challenge.
Yeah, that's
That's a
No,
straight
that's
up
not
game.
edutainment.
I didn't know if there was like a
Learn more
math
from that.
a math component in that or something or what.
And Color of Dinosaurs not edutainment.
I mean, I think
No.
it is, but it's you don't learn anything. The colors.
I know that we played a few, but
I
we
don't think
can't
we
remember them.
have.
Have we done like Oregon Trail? Because
Yes.
Yes.
that classically is not like overtly edutainment.
you played
but
in
that
this
has a lot
classroom.
of like that to me is the map, if you will, that you should follow if you're trying to do education
'Cause
as
it's a good
part
game.
of a game.
Yeah.
Right. You make a great game and
Yeah.
then you put really cool context and true facts in it and you learn along the way. That's how you do edutainment.
Well,
I'm
that's
about to get on a soapbox if we're not careful because that is not what happened this week.
and that is not a lot of edutainment games, just to be honest.
No.
You've got more bad ones than good ones. We haven't played any of the Carmen Sandiegos, but some of those are good examples.
Some of those are
Some
good.
of them are good
And,
examples.
and I can't name other ones on the show, but I grew up with a Magic School Bus edutainment game that was top. And I wish, I mean, there were probably several, but I need to find the specific one and put it on the list because like we would actually like that game.
And I played Pajama Sam, I think is the little blue guy's name. Yep. And then I always forget this guy. I played the purple car one as well.
Yeah, Putt-Putt. I don't know if that one's educational though.
Of course it is.
Definitely. Yeah, because I remember that one too.
Oh, number.
I feel like that was just entertainment.
There are. Yeah, because they did it so well, Kenny. Is Nancy Drew? Did we learn anything with Nancy Drew?
No.
Kenny learned how to die.
Too.
Yeah, Kenny
in
learned
5
how
seconds.
to die. All right. So all of that to say, Mario is Missing is supposed to be like some of those games, educational and entertaining, and smash it together. This is the first game to star Mario's brother Luigi.
Is it really?
First Luigi-centric title.
I love that fact. Because Luigi's always like bad luck Brian. Everyone's always like feeling bad for Luigi because he doesn't get the spotlight. And he has games, but like bad things always happen to him. So the fact that this is the first one is good.
He doesn't get another true starring role again until like 2001 with Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, because they were like, no more of this guy in the spotlight.
Right.
Now people like Luigi's Mansion generally, right? Those
absolutely.
Are
they're great.
Well, they need to thank Mario is Missing, which paved the way for.
I don't know about that.
They do not. They don't say that.
Before Luigi got his own mansion, he was searching for his brother Mario, Mario, since they are the Mario brothers. What?
Wait, I just had the realization that's probably exactly where they got the idea for Luigi's Mansion from. Is Mario is Missing, because in Luigi's Mansion, you have to save Mario because he's missing, and like that's probably I swear that's got to be a callback because they're always self-aware with Luigi.
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
I hope that they didn't learn anything from this game for those games.
They could have tried to, but they wouldn't have, even if they wanted.
Okay. Listen, here's the story. Mario is missing. Bowser and his Koopa Troopas stole him, but not only did they steal Mario, they stole some famous landmarks from around the world. And now they are our world, Earth, globe. I believe there's an extended story here. It's not revealed in the game because why would you ever reveal a story in the game? I believe it's even crazier, guys. And I think in the Super Nintendo version, maybe it explores it a little bit more. But I believe that Bowser is holed up in Antarctica, and that's where he is in one of his fortri, with Mario and the landmarks. And I know this is insane. I believe that he has stolen all of the blow dryers in the world. I know you're not going to believe me. And his plan is to use those blow dryers to melt Antarctica to flood and destroy the world.
So it's not global warming all this time.
It is global
It's
warming.
Bowser.
Yeah.
With blow dryers.
Hey, watch your step. There's a landmark over there in that corner. I took it. Off of Africa. What is this? What is this?
I took the landmark. It's right over there in a small little money bag. Okay, so you as Luigi are tasked with recovering both Mario and the wonders of the world. It's not just the wonders, but you are going from location to location, and through knowledge, you are saving all of humanity. Thank you, Luigi.
Gameplay.
So Mario is Missing pops up, and the first thing you see actually gave me a little bit of hope that it might be interesting, because you get this graphic that looks very Super Nintendo Mario inspired.
Yes. Okay.
But we're playing on the NES. I think we need to overtly say that because this did come out on a couple of different media, and the game types are fairly different, so we're probably not going to do heavy dive into like the MS-DOS version that I think is sort of like point and click, but we're playing the NES version, and we're getting what looks like pretty well the Super Nintendo graphics, at least the sprites, on your screen on an NES. That was kind of hype for me.
Is this a downgrade? Like did they make it for SNES and then have to downgrade it for NES or what? Because they came out at the same time, from what I understand.
Yeah, I think they made it for everything, and it was just later in the NES life cycle, and so they just like ported it to that at the same time.
Okay, but agree with most of that, Kenny. The gameplay is fundamentally the exact same from game to game. It's the same questions that are being asked. There might be a few more locations on like the PC version, but it's the same game.
Yeah, maybe, but the computer version works differently. Like you're pointing and clicking around. The UI is different. It may be the same like underlying what you're doing, but it looks pretty different than the console version.
I'll agree with Kenny in that the title splash screen is misleading, is what he's trying to say, because I'm trying to say I was sort of hyped for getting some kind of interesting Mario game because it has this look of these characters that we love and some versions of those characters that we especially love. And then you start the game and a little menu comes up. It's pretty normal. You hit the start button. And then instead of moving your hand to anywhere else on the controller, you just keep hitting the start button over and over and over again, because the control scheme for this game is the most poorly designed thing that I've ever encountered in my life. Could we explain this choice?
It's absolutely insane and asinine, both of those. Like Kenny, the first few seconds of this game flooded me with hope. I had to remind myself I'm playing the NES. Even in the first play, I'm looking at Super Nintendo graphics.
Yeah. Super Mario World.
I had to check to make sure I was playing on the right console. Seriously, because to see those graphics on the NES is insane. And of course, if
kind
you
of
look
uncomfortable.
You can, if you look close enough, you can see a few things that are different. But man, oh man, is it faithful to the Super Nintendo the Super Mario World? That's the graphics set that for the NES that they're using.
But they were only able to fit 2 seconds of that gameplay on the cartridge, because you go through, you enter with Yoshi, you go into a castle, you go down a pipe, and then you're not in Mario anymore.
No, you were in our real world. And like Kenny said, your main buttons that you were using, actually, you don't even use A and B. Dude, you only use the D-pad and start and select?
Literally.
No, you use them a little bit. Like your jump is
okay, but your jump and you hold one to
run.
And
you can run to so you do use them a tiny bit, but they almost feel secondary.
Your action buttons are start and select. Like how you're actually interacting with the world is start and select.
Not okay. And the control scheme you said is bad. It's non-existent. Let's be real. They put in flags in the code that would let you progress if you sat there and guessed what you needed to press or do. But most of the time I would just end up back where I started. Like, navigating the actual game and menu is the challenge. That's the game.
Well, none of it feels familiar. It looked familiar in the first few seconds, and then you get in and you're like,
it's what a game would feel like if I was setting out to make the clunkiest version of a game with an NES controller that I could, without inverting the D-pad.
In the first play, I have to. Why would you invert the D-pad? That's even worse.
That's the only way you could make it worse. That's what I'm saying. That's how bad it was.
In the first play, I had to sit there for multiple seconds trying to figure out what in the world was going on.
That was classic.
Again, it feels like Mario at first. You're in a fairly faithful Bowser castle. You go through a fairly faithful Bowser door with fairly faithful castle music. And then as soon as I come up out of the portal, the tube, the pipe, I'm in New York, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've got these crudely designed and drawn buildings with humans walking around, but humans that aren't in the same shape or design as Mario and or Luigi, but humans that or us, but I think it's supposed to be in design of us, and it is the most abhorrent visual of a human that I've ever seen in my life.
You know how those memes of like cursed images, like these are cursed images? This is a cursed game. Like
Absolutely.
it felt like that because you're on Yoshi and you're Mario that's colored to look like Luigi in the ugliest tile set that's supposed to be our world. And Dustin, your reaction in the first play, I was laughing out loud the whole time you were silent because it was my exact same feeling because it's not okay. Like
they could retitle the game, Luigi Walks His Waking Nightmare, subtitled like he I don't know, finally broke because it's psychotic.
It feels like a bad mod.
It does.
Like a fan-made mod of
it feels like a really bad fan-made. Absolutely.
It's nightmare fuel. Like it's that kind of experience of what you're looking at, and it just is very disturbing. And then you've got no guide as to what you do. As soon as you enter in, a telephone is ringing. Okay, but you're not going to know how to answer it because you're going to press A and B, and you're going to try all these other buttons, and you're probably not going to answer it the first time. I didn't. When I fully knew what I was doing eventually, which I was able to actually figure out a lot in the first play, which is pretty remarkable because it's such foreign of an experience.
It took me like 30 to 45 minutes. I didn't look at like guides. I just jumped in and tried to figure the game out to feel like I had figured it out.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What you're supposed to do, you've got a little box at the top of the screen as if you're playing Super Mario World and you've got the extra power up there.
Yeah.
It's that box, right?
But it's 10 times bigger.
It's larger, and instead of a mushroom, instead of a fire flower, instead of a star, you have got at first a telephone. You could also have a Yoshi character. You could also have just a white box with a black question mark.
Yep. A typewriter.
A walking Luigi.
Yeah, and then a yourself walking.
And then a money bag once you collect money bags.
Right, so and money bags.
Those are what you're able to have up there. Okay, so at first the telephone is up there and it's ringing. If you press start, I think is the right maybe
input. It might be select. Too. It might be select. You just hit all the buttons. Eventually, it comes up.
You answer the phone, and it's the mayor welcoming you to his city or her city. They don't announce what city you're in because that's the big mystery. You have to find out where you are by talking to the citizens, those nightmare citizens with a question mark, and ask where you are. At first, they're not going to tell you. They'll give you hints or clues as to where you are.
They don't trust
the reason why you need to know where you are is because then you have to go into the Yoshi menu, which is Yoshi on an overworld similar to the overworld of Super Mario World, but it is not that world.
But not. Although they had the assets to actually do that look.
Right.
Because they use it somewhere else. We'll talk about that.
Green.
We'll talk about Yoshi first.
I feel like it would have been too much. In the Super Nintendo version, it is the assets of Super Mario World. In the NES version, it is not the assets. It is bad. And the overview world, I found out as I went up and found out that I was in Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are on the world map, our world map.
Right.
And your task is to find out where you are as Luigi, get Yoshi there, because you cannot progress and complete the stage without getting Yoshi to your location because you're too short to talk to the woman in the information window that you have to talk to.
Okay. I'm bad at geography. IRL.
Okay.
I didn't learn anything from
You didn't learn anything?
And that's what they wanted, I guess, because they give you the world map and it's like, oh, here's where Egypt is and this is Africa. Like, I'm really bad at things outside of the States, and I didn't learn anything. So, and I think that's the point of the game. So, bad job. Very bad job.
Okay, listen. I did not know that the Sphinx in Egypt was carved out of one piece of limestone.
I feel like they made that up.
They made up their facts.
I'm just kidding. I didn't know that either. That's crazy, and it's crazy that it exists anyways. Look, this might be a little insensitive, and I got to be careful how I say this. I feel like this game was designed Well, it wasn't, but this feels like a game that you would hand someone to show them what it feels like to play a game with a disability, like without sight or sound or touch. Like it simulates frustration of not having the full context of something. I felt like I was, again, in a nightmare that didn't make sense the whole time I was playing it. So of course I didn't learn anything because I was too focused on trying to get it to function correctly.
Well, and even with, we didn't even explain where the learning comes in. Sure, you have to try to find out where you are and get Yoshi there. That's the first part of it. The second part is there's 3 Koopas on each stage that you have to find and crush.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and after you crush them, someone take it.
Okay,
I don't know.
You crush them. You pick up a money bag, which makes sense. Can we also point out that these are Koopas, but they can't injure you? They're
You cannot get hurt.
No,
It's
you
a kid's
can't get
game.
hurt because and it's educational. I mean, you couldn't.
It's a kid's game, yes, but instead of jumping on the Koopa and just their shell rolling away, you explode them. Like they die.
Yeah, I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm trying to point out how nonsensical it is. It's ridiculous. Yes. You turn them into a money bag. It's alchemy. You don't kill them. You jump on them and magically convert them into a money bag.
Sure.
But what's in that money bag is not money. What's in that money bag is a piece of what has been stolen from the local geography.
Yeah.
And so you're learning about all the cool items, all the important items in all these key cities. Then you've got to collect all 3 of those items and go specifically take back each of those items to a specific information center. There's not just one place. You can't just take it to any information center. You got to find the right one. And then, assuming you've done that, and assuming you've talked to enough of the NPCs throughout the world to learn the trivia you're supposed to be learning about this city, you're going to give back this item to the NPC. But they don't think that you have the real item. The only way to prove to them that you do have the actual item is by answering a question that has nothing to do with anything.
Y'all played this game?
Yeah, Nolan, how little of this game did you
Oh.
play?
He played like half
What
an
do you
hour and
think?
got frustrated and never logged back in.
Listen, after you turn in these items, then the information ladies give free money.
Yeah, then they give you a money. Tax free.
For what?
Tax free.
To
Why
do-
does it specify tax free?
I don't know.
On each time, and that's your points, but at no point in the game can you check your point total or your money total, not even at the end of the game.
Yeah, because there's
So
no like
it's-
menu.
So it's no running thing. What, Kenny? What did I
think
say
when you're-
wrong?
No, I think when you're actually done with the actual game, like you beat
Hmm?
it, it brings up a money total. I'm
That's
almost
what he was
certain.
saying. He said you can't check it during the game.
Well, I said during, and I said also at the end, and Kenny might be right, probably wrong, just like historically speaking, but I know that throughout it doesn't come into play at the end. Kenny, if it does show, is it tax free? Do you have to pay taxes on it, or are you just tax exempt?
I don't know why they point out that it's tax free the whole time. That never gets explained.
They're like
and it's
teaching you that
ridiculous.
taxes exist.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Libertarian was
So,
coding
okay.
this game and trying to brainwash kids.
So y'all played a lot more than me. Do they
Yeah,
teach
no.
more? I mean, what you described isn't a bad setup for an edutainment game, I guess, if it functioned correctly. Do you is the trivia fun?
They try, but they do a
Okay.
very terrible job of it. The trivia felt trivial to me. They I don't know, the questions they asked didn't feel important, like things that you actually need to know. And there's just so few of them, and I'm pretty sure they're presented, in the same order every time. So as a kid, you could memorize the order of the things and not just, answer the question based on like what the actual answer is.
Yeah,
There's just
I know
so
what
many
you mean.
things that that were poorly done, even about this, like, go out and talk to the NPCs and learn about this city while you're there, and then we're going to quiz you on it. Let alone the, like, oh, you have a piece of the Statue of Liberty. We're not going to trust that that's the actual thing until you answer a question about the Statue of Liberty. Then we know it's real. The whole premise is ridiculous.
Well, you know all those counterfeit Statue of Liberties out there on the market. You got to be sure.
To give you an idea of what some of the questions is and things that you're learning is like, I had one that was one day a year, the Rockefeller Center is closed. Why?
To put up
and
a
it
tree.
gives you a few options. I think one is, one's about the tree, one's about the ice skating rink is closed, and one is about it being a janitor's holiday. I don't remember. It's not janitor's holiday. That's what I picked at first.
It's got to be the tree, right? Because that's like a huge thing.
Right.
What happens when you get a question wrong, Dustin?
They kill you?
So when it gets a question wrong, you just get right back into the dialogue and you can guess a different answer right away. So it's not like you were punished and have to go learn it from somewhere else. You can just re-answer it the different answer.
Okay.
I figured it would not let you answer until you talk to the person that gave you the answer, or it would like reset Yoshi somewhere else in the world and make you bring him back.
Or give
do
you a different
something.
question.
Right. I assumed it was bad enough that it wouldn't just let you try. If you can just answer and try 3 different times, then like what's even the point?
Then there's no game component to it. And at some point, for me, it's not that I was even like registering the information anymore. So it's not like I was even learning anything. I was just doing the rote mechanical things so that I could play the game.
Can we talk about how lost you are, at least at first, navigating these cities?
Yeah,
Nolan never got unlost because Nolan didn't take the time to figure it out.
Correct.
But it did. It took way too long to understand these mechanics. It took too long.
You walk north and south towards the screen and
on a Mario game, you know.
And then you take pipes and they just pop you out random other places. Like you go in a pipe and it pops you out a pipe, and then you go back in that same pipe and it pops you out somewhere else.
Right, that's not okay.
It really makes it makes no sense whatsoever. And eventually, once you beat the level, you pop in a pipe and then go back to the castle to start the whole next level. It's nonsensical. Thankfully, there is an overworld map. I didn't know that at first, and I got so frustrated walking around those early cities, just wildly looking for information centers and for Koopas. There is an overworld map, and it looks sort of...
Nope. The overworld map is Yoshi. That's where you're looking at the world.
Over city map.
There you go.
Is a highlight of where you are map that looks kind of like the Super Nintendo Mario World over map, but is literally just a representation of the routes you can go and where things are. And if you know that, it's confusing too.
The reason why it's confusing is just because none of the buildings change. It's the exact same on each. You've only got like 4 or 5 NPC characters in each location. They're the same 5 every single time, and so like you're seeing the same people, the same building sets. Nothing is new, but they're relatively small that you'll find all 3 Koopas relatively quickly and the information stations. But yeah, it was nice to have an over city map so that you could at least know where you were going.
Once I realized what it did, I used it a ton. It made it so much easier to navigate around. But why would you? Because you beat the first city, and then you move on to another city.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do the exact same thing, like 17 different times or something. I don't remember what the
how
actual
long
count
to
is.
beat
It's
this one?
Speed number.
How long to beat this one? I would say probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. If you want to talk to every individual and you want to get the highest tax-free money score, then probably like 3 hours. But here's the thing. So it's a relatively, I guess, short game, but you're not playing anything. You're just doing the same thing over and over again with new quote-unquote facts. So it's like, really, the game is 10 minutes times just doing those 10 minutes over and over and over again.
To me, an edutainment game is probably harder to make than a platformer.
Edutainment's hard, man.
Because there's so much logic in the questions and what you're like teaching, but it has to be entertaining. That part of it is important and very hard to do. So for them to be like, oh, we're going to make a Mario edutainment, I would have chosen any other type of Mario game. Hey, we're going to make a Mario shmup. That's like so much easier to make than a freaking entertaining game that teaches you something. That's hard.
It's got to be very hard. And the software Toolworks knows it better than most.
Yeah, it's not impossible, though. There's series that get it right. Like, you want your geography, you don't learn it from Mario is Missing. You go to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
You got a Civ.
Like, it's not an excuse for the fact that they're bad at it. I think it's easy to just be like, this is hard, and it is. But I also just think some of it's just reflective of, like, the industry. I don't think game makers were involved in making games that were educational. What you had is a bunch of educators or whatever who didn't understand a game or why it was good, but are like, oh, the kids sure like their console, let's go do this thing. And the result is even worse than I would have expected it to be.
Civilization is an edutainment game.
Yes.
Aged.
The humans in this game.
Back to that.
I hesitate. Well, I just want to start with visuals on this game because they're so offensive. Because you can't trick people like this. It's not. It's a fair
massive trick.
First of all, it's extremely unsettling to me that there is a SNES box published by Nintendo. It says Super Nintendo at the bottom. That is this game. I can't believe it came out on the system. I can't believe they let this happen. But secondly, once you actually get into the game, you can't start with some assets and then go into this offensive-looking thing where when you're walking left or right and you come across one of those windows, the character is like doing this back and forth, like shaking left and right, but that's not intentional. It's the screen moving and them trying to keep her still. They started the graphic set and then quit very quickly. They were like, that's good enough. Let's continue on to something else in the game. And it's absolutely offensive.
I think offensive is a good word to use there because to see Luigi or Mario, the sad fact is it's not even Luigi. It's just Mario colored palette swap. But to see those characters that you know and love and the character models that you know and love fairly faithful, but then placed in a world like this it's offensive. It's what you said.
It really is.
So wrong.
There's this like new thing. I see it on TikTok a lot where they get AI programs to render what they think something is like. So the one I saw recently was a night terror or a sleep paralyzation, what that looks like, and it's horrifying. Okay. This feels like if you told AI make a Mario edutainment game and you have purple buildings where the windows are like jail bars and the doors aren't doors. It's like a mess.
Yeah. So I actually heard someone say this week that this is a Google Translate Mario. Like, you know how when you put something through Google Translate, it comes through and you kind of get some idea of it, but like you can tell what it's supposed to be, but it's not. This is that. And the remarkable thing is the NES is the second best looking version. The Super Nintendo does the best visually, of course. It's Super Nintendo. Sure. Well, not of course. Sense. PC could have been the best.
Yeah, it came out on DOS.
It is the worst. It looks absolutely garbage.
The computer one's the worst?
The computer one's the worst.
Oh.
But the Super Nintendo version, the Luigi model is actually it's not Mario, it's Luigi, but it is the meme Luigi. It's actually, if you saw the Luigi that it uses, it's that one where he's like completely stiff and straight.
Wait, is that where this comes from?
That's this.
Oh, I thought that came from something else. No, that's Nightmare Fuel here. Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So like but no matter which version you play, it's offensive. Not only in that sense, but it's also offensive in another sense. So you've got a different building set based on the locations in the world that you go. When you go to a place in Africa, I believe, I don't remember. It's straw huts. Yeah. Not just straw huts, but a lot of straw huts. So offensive.
And still white people.
And then some of the music is also like very, you know how we brought it up.
culturally insensitive and
Culturally
like
insensitive,
way leaning into stereotypes. And yeah, when you're in China, it's this beginning and but without the backgrounds actually changing much. I mean, they change them a little, but
it's like teaching racism.
It was not only
accidentally.
Absolutely, it was offensive in so many ways. I want to tell you the moment that I was the most irrationally, maybe rationally angry, though. The moment that I got the most offended. I would imagine you guys may not have seen this, but I always like to see how games end. And so even when I don't play all the way through a game, and I did not play all the way through this game, I played a number of levels, and then I realized they were all going to be the same. So I went and watched the ending. I wanted to see how this thing ends.
The multiple boss
there's a list of things that make me mad here. And let's start with that.
It's a boss rush?
One, Mario is missing. Like, you think he's hidden somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And you've gone to all the world to find him. At least in the NES version, you finally get to the end and you find out that he's actually in this castle that you're in the whole time. He's just behind a wall. But to do that, you first have to fight Bowser. And it is the littlest, most unintimidating, ugliest Bowser that you could ever imagine. And just like the Koopas, he can't even hurt you. It's the final fight of this game, and you're platforming your way to beat him as a boss fight. All you gotta do is jump on his head like 42 times. It's way too many. And it doesn't matter because you can't take damage. It's everything about it is offensive. And so it looks bad, it sounds bad, it doesn't make sense as a game. You get through all of this garbage, and then you get to the final screen of the game, and they have the audacity to actually play the real theme music from the original Mario.
No.
That's really funny.
No.
I actually got instantly kicked.
That's rational anger, Kenny. I would have been furious.
It felt so out of place. And like, if you listen to this episode at all, you know we recently talked about Super Mario Brothers, and that episode was basically our love story to this classic game, and to have that kind of connection with this so good sort of foundational gaming experience, and then be reminded of what you just went through with this terrible take at a game, and in such a like emotional way as a song, just hurt me real bad.
I do wonder if the endings are slightly different based on the version you're playing, because I know that at least in the Super Nintendo version, you fight the Koopa kids at the end. You don't even fight Bowser. But even no matter what version you play, they cannot hurt you. Yeah. You can stand there and they can roll right through you.
It's so bad.
All you have to do is jump on their head way too many times, and it's just bad.
That premise as learning even is just so obnoxious. It's and I don't want to get on a soapbox, but it's the give everybody a trophy. You know, like, we have learned that you learn in life from actual real experiences. You know, I'm about your fairy tales being gritty, and about letting your
fail
kids
and try
fail.
Again. Yeah, that's what
try and learn to persevere and figure out what they're good at and what they're not, and take all that away. Anyhow, that's sort of a segue, and I won't go there. But I'm mad at this game, and I'm mad at the education industry, and I'm mad.
Kenny's mad that this game created kids that don't know anything about life.
Kenny, okay, no, I mean, not just Kenny. You were just talking, so I was thinking about you. But listen,
well, thanks.
The NES and the Super Nintendo version and the PC version all came out kind of right at the same time. So it's not like that it even aged in between iterations of the game.
Right.
But it feels like they did to some degree, not just graphically, but like one of the decisions they made. So in our version, in the NES version, you walk down the center of the street to get to up and down to get to the next location. For some reason, in the Super Nintendo version, they didn't want to teach kids to walk down the center of the street. So you could not, if you tried, you would not be able, it would make a car horn noise. You had to walk down the left or right side sidewalks to get to the next screen.
Learning is fun.
Kenny's mad.
Dude, okay. Hey, Kenny, they'll have participation trophies, but they won't get run over by a car. You cool with that?
Yeah, I don't. And then like take this quiz, but just like try each answer.
Oh, you got an F on this test. Try one more time.
Try one more time.
And the next
maybe
one.
try B. I think B's the right. It's that teacher that would come to your desk and be like, I think you should try that one. Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure about that one?
Kenny, you were a substitute teacher for just a little bit. Did you? Was that your
I forgot about
modus
that lore.
operandi?
I did not use Mario is Missing as quality edutainment teaching, and
Okay.
I also did not give students the answers when they needed them.
Oh, you suck. All right, listen.
Worst teacher ever.
I don't know if you guys know, but there are other Mario games in the Mario franchise.
Oh,
Besides this one,
This
is the
Mario
last
teaches
one?
typing.
So like if your first entry into this series was Mario is Missing, you can also look for like Super Mario World, there's Super Mario Bros. There's even some recent Marios as well. It's actually been a very successful series.
okay.
Did they make any for like the 64? Because I liked that console a lot.
I think so. I think there was one, but it's like very polygonal. And so a lot of people don't like
not
it.
worth it.
And Luigi's not in it, so kind of for this game, it's $21 used for the NES cartridge or $209 new, which why ever?
Well, probably because Nintendo wants this to be a secret for the
Erased.
rest of their lives, and so there's probably like 2 copies left out there.
The SNES version is a little bit cheaper, $14 used, $145 new. Still a lot of money for you to get this game into your collection new.
Right.
I would not do it.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which you're probably sitting on the edge of your chair right now wondering what our, final thoughts are going to be. It's our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. I think Kenny enjoyed the game most, so Kenny, go ahead and you can share first.
No New Game Plus for me. I did not enjoy this game the most. Even if I played it more than Nolan, it was only out of obligation to being well researched. They did my boy Luigi wrong, and this is probably I'm not gonna hedge bets. This is my least favorite game we've played on the podcast yet. Across the board, we've played some hot garbage. We played NGP. We've played all kinds of stuff. No NGP. In fact, if you tried to pay me money to change my New Game Plus status on this, like real world, if somebody came up to me and was like, I'm going to give you tax-free money to change your NGP status on this, you'd have to drop at least 4 digits to get me there. And I'm usually pretty cheap. I'll tell you that I liked Turok for $5, even though I don't like that game at all.
Is sick, first of all.
I'll write a blog post about the fact that Jurassic Park was revolutionary for $20. Name your price. I'm cheap. I'll just say it. I refuse to give this game any credit. Absolute mess of a game.
Swear.
Never again.
Swear. Say a cuss word.
Wait, so you didn't like this game?
I did not.
Oh.
All right. Nolan, did you?
I agree with Kenny. I was going to say this is the worst game we played on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah, and I want you to say it too, Dustin, so we can just have that that title. It's not a game. You didn't want to call it that in the first place, and rightly so. It's not a game. It's not educational. It's not entertainment. It is nightmare fuel. It's cursed. This is a cursed game. More cursed than E.T. This is worse than E.T. And I cannot believe Nintendo let this release. I can't. And I know they didn't make it, but I can't believe they said okay. So, remove it from the list. Don't even put no NGP. Just take it off of the master list that it never happened.
We'll just pretend it never happened.
Yes.
In fact, we'll not release this episode and just act like this did not happen.
Only to
It will just be
producers?
the one silent week in NGP's history.
It's just an hour of silence. All right.
No, was this the lowest effort you've put into a game?
By far. Yeah. Even games that I dislike or find frustrating on this podcast, I play. I'm with Kenny. I think you have to be researched. You play it. You know what you're doing when you come. I don't have notes for this. I'm in a freaking robe. This is not it for me, and I didn't prepare at all.
I don't think it's the worst game that we've played.
What's worse?
I mean, I don't have the Retro Master list pulled up right now.
I said it's my least favorite game that we've played. which is an important distinction.
Which is fine. I'm just saying that
it's also one of the worst.
Oh, it is
I
the
might
worst game.
like something like E.T. might be objectively worse if you were using some kind of like actual rubric.
it's
But
my
like,
turn to talk.
No, it's
I know
not.
it's one of the worst, and it is my least favorite.
It is one of the worst. I don't think it is the worst, and it's not my least favorite probably. But it is offensive. That is a really good word that we brought up and used multiple times, because here's the thing. When you think about Mario, no matter what the game is, you think about platforming. There's not any platforming in this game. There are no power-ups. There's no progression. There are no enemies because there's no fear of death. There's no stripper flagpoles at the end of stages. There is the only thing that is Mario are a few of the tile sets. The pipe, the character, and the Yoshi. Everything else, and so that's why it's so offensive.
There's no mushroom.
Look, it probably would have been a better game if you just stripped the Mario out of it and let it be other characters. Then we wouldn't have been as offended.
I wouldn't be mad.
But that you're taking something so iconic and putting it in such a terrible place with such terrible gameplay. I have very rarely hesitated so strongly on even saying game and gameplay, because there is no gaming experience here.
Nope.
Reading a book about Luigi finding Mario would have more gameplay to it, because you have the challenge of turning the page, and like it's just, there's more challenge to something like that. This game is really bad. It is among the worst games that we played. It certainly does not get my vote for New Game Plus status, and would not get anybody's, rationally speaking. Mario is missing, is not New Game Plus certified. But what did you think? We had 395 votes on YouTube, and 18% said yes. They're
trolls.
They're trolling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trolling because of the meme. That Luigi face is like a huge meme, or it was a huge meme, so they're trolling. It's not
46%.
17% are trolling. There's probably some people out there that have
1%.
weird nostalgia attachments or something
developer.
that actually, but I mean, they're wrong.
The 18% are the developers?
Yeah.
As the software tool works?
Yeah.
46% said no, go play something else, and I put 536%. I think it's
That's
53%. I don't really know. Have never played it before.
No, that's correct. 500.
Something like that. And then from our community, we had a good amount of people write in. Thank you for trying to do this thing with us this week.
Yeah.
And we're so sorry we did this to you.
Sean said, I remember playing Mario is Missing back in the day. I saw it at a local Blockbuster, rented it, and was super excited because I thought it was another Mario game. But what it ended up being was more like Carmen Sandiego, which don't you dare, Sean.
Yeah.
Not even in the
Nothing
same
like
breath,
that.
bro.
Was more like Carmen Sandiego with jumping more than anything else. And somehow they even made the Carmen Sandiego globe-trotting aspects boring. The final boss was just a rehash of old Mario gameplay, leaving much to be desired. I definitely vote no New Game Plus on this one.
Big surprise.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's not even close. SNES's Life said, haven't commented in a while, decided this one needed me. I rented this game a number of times so that I could complete it. This game came out at a perfect time for me, 1994. I was super into Carmen Sandiego and that cartoon, and for some reason I really liked this game. As a kid, I'm a dork, I guess. As an unbiased adult, the game is awful. The game is way too long, repetitive music, repetitive gameplay, repetitive and unchallenging boss fights, and the sprite for Luigi, who at this point had his own sprite, being a color swap of the Mario sprite, seemed hyper lazy. In fact, all of the other sprites are bad. The Koopalings and Koopa himself at the end, which isn't even a boss fight and downright some of the worst I've seen, a real causality of the edutainment wars. Definitely no NGP.
If any adult is like, yeah, I like this game, there's someone off camera with a gun pointing at them. They're like, yeah, this is a great game. I love it.
I love this game. I learned a lot. And then finally, Clint said, I beat the NES version this week.
Sorry about that.
Wow.
It's not the worst game. Though in terms of educational content, I literally learned nothing because the game allows you to just go back and pick a different answer if you got it wrong the first time. The SNES version seems to have fixed the educational portion of this by requiring you to answer 2 of 3 to 4 potential questions correctly when returning an item, though it makes the whole process even worse by locking you out of the process for a good 30 seconds if you don't get both answers correct. So if you're to pick all 6 wrong choices between 2 questions, 1 item return can take you upwards of 6 minutes. Purely waiting around to try answering again. The music and sound effects in the NES version are painful, and they actually messed up the Mario Bros. Theme in the end credits. The SNES version sound and controls pretty well for the most part, though. Overall, this was a huge waste of like 2 hours of my life, and I wish I could have them back.
Glenn, you can skip
That's
this
the
episode
summary.
on your podcast of like what if Mario was missing and Luigi had to go across the United States to find him. They already did it.
They already did it. And you can't have back this 2 hours of your life, but thank you for at least playing a lot more than any of us did this week so that you would have something to talk about. Thank you for sending in your thoughts and commentary on the Retro Game of the Week. You can send in your thoughts each and every week to ngppodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think on the Retro Game of the Week, which thankfully, I mean, I've probably never been more happy to set aside
Same.
the past game.
Yep.
So Mario is missing. We will never think about it or talk about it again. And for now, from our Retro Master list, we are randomly selecting the next game that we'll be playing for the next 7 days. And it is... we're going to be playing a game that came out in 1999 for the PlayStation.
Good year.
It was developed by a company named BEC and Flying Tiger Development, published by Bandai.
Okay.
Heard of Bandai
Tekken.
before? It is a game where you are controlling, or at least working with virtual pets. Virtual pets. And it is a part of the greater series that is Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon are the champions. We are going to be playing Digimon World.
Why?
What do you mean, why? Digimon is amazing. Honestly, better than Pokemon, but whatever.
Wow.
You will
that's
not
hot
get a
take.
response out of me, but that's not
I-
true.
I did watch the show as a kid when it was out,
And it was amazing.
and I was into it.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It was... No, what... Nolan, you're just still in Mario is missing mode. Will you
Yeah, I'm not
please
playing
come out?
This week.
Yeah, he's gotta
Comb
take
your
his robe
hair.
off,
Comb
get a
your hair.
shower,
Yeah.
eat a healthy meal, drink some coffee, and then come talk to us.
All of those things. All right. So find a copy of the PlayStation exclusive, the PlayStation game, Digimon World, played along with us this week.
You can also join us in Discord and let us know what you think about this game by going to ngppodcast.com and clicking Join Us in Discord.
We want to say a big thank you to the following people. Our wonderful directors who go above and beyond in supporting our show, Antonin, Garlisle, and Bro Jim, and our large and growing list of producer supporters who really are just the backbone of us continuing to make entertaining, educating, edutainment.
That is what we are.
We're I don't know if that's true.
We're edutaining.
Regardless, thank you to Amarlian, Anthony, Austin, Ben, Bethany Fox, Brunt, Corey, Captain Protein, Dan the Man, DB Muppet, Francesca, Hi, I'm Josh, Joey, Jordan, Justin, Corey, Lorelai, Maxima, Mr. Latte, Nawel, Secret Duck of Evermore, Shauna, Thomas, Unbedavable, Wardonis, William, and Zion. Wow. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Y'all really are awesome. Like, actually, just a second here, because, and I hate to be doing this on an episode called Mario is Missing, but like, if you listen to this podcast, you don't have to support us in any way, whatever. We make this content free for you. Get over it. And that's why we play games like Mario is Missing. It's your fault. But for those of you that say, listen, I don't have to do this, but I want to do this, and I want to do it on a monthly basis, and I want to do it at this level, that is really cool.
Means everything.
And makes what we do, helps make what we do worth it, especially when we play games like this. We can be reminded that, hey, at least we're doing it for a good cause.
Yep.
And with
you can follow
people
us.
that are also suffering.
You can follow. We make you suffer together. You can follow us on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. All of those links are in the show notes. Make sure you listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. This episode was edited and produced by our good friend Tom Tate. Join us next week as we play Digimon World. Until then, I'm still Dustin.
I'm so mad about this game.
Idgaff.
And this has been an edutainment episode of New Game Plus.